Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, Johnny of the Super Gamer Brothers, and here I am with your Wednesday morning filler. It's Kirby's Dream Land, released for the Game Boy in 1992. I got a bit of history with this one, actually. I didn't play it in 1992, but I want to say the earliest I've ever experienced Kirby's Dream Land was in 1994, but it is one of the first Game Boy games I've ever played and ever beaten, right next to Super Mario Land, and I guess you can count Tetris. I don't remember ever finishing Tetris. I remember getting to like maybe level 9 where the blocks start coming down really fast, and that says something in itself. I don't remember how long it took me to get there. But anyway, developed by Masahiro Sakurai of Smash Brothers fame, yeah. I think we live in a time and place where Masahiro Sakurai is more known for Smash Brothers than Kirby, but no, Kirby is where he established himself. And not to say that Kirby should be forgotten or anything. No, Kirby is a fantastic series, especially for those that are just getting into video games. As Kirby's Dream Land for the Game Boy, as you know, side-scrolling platforming game is pretty simple. Which is why for this playthrough today, I'm doing Extra Game, which is the hard mode. You find out about Extra Game when you beat the game originally. You know, once you give King Dedede his comeuppance, he falls down and it gives you the code to activate Extra Game at the title screen, which I believe is you hold up A and you press select, and then the title screen will say Extra Game. And then you begin the game on hard mode, and goddamn, like, I haven't played and beaten Dreamland, I want to say in well over a decade. Like, we did this game at Brain Scratch, I think maybe about 2 years ago, and I didn't play the game beforehand. Well, it was actually Ted that played the game for the channel, but I didn't play the game beforehand, despite how short this is. Because Dreamland, as you can see from this video, it's 24 minutes around that, and we're doing the entire game, folks. Even on hard mode, this game is not very long. But in terms of what's going on here, I mean, Kirby is the name of this little... Well, he didn't have his pink color, actually, when the game was first released. There was a bit of debate going on. I hear, like, between Sakurai and Shigeru Miyamoto, they were arguing what color should Kirby be. I think one of them said white, the other said pink. Either way, they couldn't pick a color on time for the game's first release, so in the box art, the North American box art, I'm not sure how it is in the Japanese box art, Kirby is colored white, because they based him off of his color palette for the Game Boy, which didn't have color at the time, so he's white. In every other game after this, he has his natural pink color. And personally, you know, I like the white coloration, you know, it kind of makes it look like a ghost at times, but, you know, pink is where it's at. Pink is what Kirby's been rocking since, like, Dreamland 2 and beyond, Kirby's Adventure on the NES. But I gotta tell you, it was going down memory lane going back to this game. I don't remember how many times I've beaten it, like, in 1994. But I went back and played it, like, 3 times for this playthrough. Once on the regular mode and twice in extra mode, because I knew extra mode is what I was going to do for this playthrough. And again, I gotta emphasize, Kirby's Dream Land is an absolute breeze. A spring breeze. Like, when you're playing it on normal. It's definitely a perfect game for beginners just looking to get into video games, because the only thing Kirby can do, he can move left and right, he can jump, typical for 2D platformers. He can suck up enemies like a vacuum and spit them back out. And he can also fly when you jump and hold the up directional input. And he can fly for an infinite amount of time. He doesn't have to worry about getting tired or anything like that. You can't suck things up though while flying, so be wary of that. However, you know, as odd as this may sound, Kirby didn't have his copy ability. You know, his world-renowned copying ability that he's so known for was not in this game, which is probably the weirdest thing to go back to if you've played every other Kirby game in existence before this. You know, the only thing Kirby can do is suck things up and spit them back out. It's really weird. I think he wouldn't get his copy ability until Kirby's Adventure on the NES, or maybe Kirby's Dream Land 2. But in terms of my personal experience with Kirby, Dreamland and Adventure, I want to say, are pretty much it. Like, I have not really gone back to playing any others, or if I haven't played them at all. Like, I never played Dreamland 2 on the Game Boy. I think maybe I played Dreamland 3 on the Super Nintendo once, but that was such a long time ago. It's a fuzzy memory, if anything. It may not even be a memory at all. Who knows? And I never played Kirby 64. I never played any of the GameCube games. I never played Triple Deluxe, Rainbow, Canvas Curse or anything like that. Any of the new editions. I played Return to the Dreamland with the Brain Scratch crew like 2 years ago. That was fun. But Yeah, my experience is I'm not a Kirby veteran. Definitely not. And I plan on giving the series some proper love in my review channel at some point or another, because I get a lot of requests for a Kirby marathon. And yeah, I'd definitely be down for that. Why not? He's an iconic Nintendo mascot. He deserves some love. Sure, why not? But, alright, so I guess I should just go into, like, the things about Extra Mode, because Extra Mode is, is a hard mode in essence that Kirby takes double the damage from pretty much everything. There are more enemies to deal with. There are different enemies to deal with. So if anything, I think like Extra Mode is giving you a fuller experience than what the original mode offers, because there are some enemies you do not run into in normal mode compared to Extra Mode. Like those flying enemies that just pass by me to the left. Those I think like they look completely different in normal mode. I think they have completely different names too. But in Extra Mode, they're a hell of a lot more aggressive. They like stay hovering above the ground for about maybe a second, and then they just dart to the left or right. I'm not sure if it's like relative to Kirby's current position, but whatever it is, they still dart left and right, so they're pretty dangerous. Besides that, we got some other iconic Kirby enemies here, Waddle Dees, which are pretty much the Goombas. Even they get a little more aggressive in Extra Mode, because in regular mode, Waddle Dees just like to, well, waddle left and right. And that's about it. They're free for the picking. In a hard mode, or Extra Mode, they like to jump everywhere. And they're a little more annoying. They're not too bad, but, moving is better than not really moving at all. Then you got Waddle Doos, they look like Waddle Dees, but they're like Cyclops, and they can shoot electric beams from their eyes. Pretty dangerous. But the worst case is actually that little thing right there. That little spike ball with the cute little eyes is called a Gordo. And they hurt. They're also indestructible for the most part. Why for the most part? You'll find out in the end game. But Gordos in Extra Mode take 3 units of Kirby's health. How many units of health do you have total? 6. 2 hits, and you're dead from Gordos. God, they are, without a doubt, one of the most dangerous enemies in the game. But in addition to just things hurting you more, and in addition to just having more enemies to deal with, new enemies to deal with, we got bosses too. They get a hell of a lot more faster and aggressive in Extra Mode. And like what the first boss I fought in Green Greens, I know this happened like 6 minutes ago, but this is what happens when you try to cram in all of your Kirby knowledge in a 124-minute video. Wispy Woods. Now he's generally known as one of the easiest bosses in the existence of video games, because he's a tree. He doesn't do anything. But even in Extra Mode, they throw Gordos at you now, who kill you in 2 hits. So in addition to now sucking up apples and hitting it back at Wispy Woods, you now gotta worry about not getting hit by Gordos, in addition to Wispy Woods, like, blowing these puffs of air at you, which somehow hurts Kirby. But then again, Kirby is pretty tiny. I think he's like, what? I don't remember his size. I think it was like 8 inches, maybe? But, that can hurt Kirby. And the second boss that we had in the, in Castle Lololo was Lololo and La La La. Actually, 2 characters based off of another NES game developed by HAL Laboratories, which is The Adventures of Lolo. I played a bit of that. I think about 2 years ago, we were doing like an emulator cocktail, see what we can get. And Adventures of Lolo loaded up, and you push blocks. It's like a puzzle-oriented game. Not my cup of tea personally, but it's pretty cool when they bring characters or make characters based off of another franchise of the company and make a boss out of them. But in Extra Mode, they move a little faster, if I recall correctly. And of course, you can't take too many hits, so there's all that. But I gotta say, the worst of it is that boss that I just beat right there. That thing right there is Kabula, I think its name is. It's a girl too. You wouldn't be able to tell from that design, but yeah, that thing apparently has a gender when I was doing some research on it. Kabula in Extra Mode is so goddamn aggressive and sporadic and hectic with its bullets that it gave me the hardest time. I would classify that as the hardest boss of the game, actually, because the next boss for this one, in Bubbly Clouds, Krako, can be exploited pretty easily once you figure it out. Kabula, though, you got me there. It's just a matter of sucking up the mint candy, which gives you the infinite puffs of air from your mouth, and just blasting away. Hope to God you can dodge the bullets on time. But man, this took a while to record, actually. It's just, I was playing the game normally. It was like, yeah, this game is pretty much the breeze as I remember it to be. And I figured, I haven't done Extra Mode in a long time. let me go and give that a shot. And I was like, oh my god, I'm getting my ass kicked. I don't remember extra mode being this hard. Yeah, I have the faintest memories of activating the extra game code on the Game Boy so long ago, and I just can't remember if I've actually like beaten it in that with that difficulty setting on. But regardless of such, it shouldn't take you that very long. I can imagine, like, I'm beating like extra mode here in like 24 minutes. Like normal mode, Kirby, after you played it like 1 or 2 times, should take you like less than 20 minutes. I mean, yeah, Kirby is not a very long game, folks. And then again, a lot of games in the Game Boy, 2D platformers specifically, were not very long games. That Mario Land, which we also did, I think, around last year, it took less than an hour. And, you know, that was par for the course for the Game Boy. Games didn't last very long, but they didn't need to. They were handheld games. You take them on the go. Anyway, this is Kracko Jr. I hate to run into the father of this thing. But anyway, in extra mode, Kracko Jr. likes to dart all over the damn place. But it is a pattern. He always shoots 4 bullets, then he dives like that, and then he releases bombs. You need to inhale the bombs and shoot them back at him. Now, the trick for this one, as you can see right there, is if you stand all the way to the left and crouch. I always crouch. Sometimes it's not always necessary, but I always do it anyway just to be safe. If you stand all the way to the left and crouch, Kracko Jr. can't hurt you. Like, none of his attacks will ever reach you. But you still have to worry about sucking up the bombs and hitting him in the eye when appropriate. A little section right there where I'm just blasting through blocks to get a maximum tomato. Reminds me of Tails' Adventure for some reason. I don't know why. It must be the drugs. Anyway. Yeah, your means of healing yourself in Kirby's Dream Land is Maxim tomatoes and these bottles of some sort of essence. I think it's water, tomato juice, probably. And Kirby's a health nut. But there are also some power-ups you can get. The one I'm using right now is a super spicy curry. Where, when ingested, you know, Kirby's got ants in his pants, fire ants in his pants. He has to shoot all this fireball out because it's so many, like 76 flavors of zesty goodness. And he spits out fireballs as a result. Pretty wonderful. You're not invincible though, so don't think you can be all gung-ho with your fireballs. Still gotta watch out. Like for instance, one of the obstacles of that little hallway there was falling stars. They're tiny. You think they're just part of the background aesthetic, but no, those are actual projectiles. Those are enemies, so watch out for them. Oh my god, the Gordos in this place is tremendous. Yeah, it's a little secret room here that you could find. I think it's like the only one of its kind in this entire game. The moon is actually a secret room where you fall down, you get some extra lives, get some maximum tomato. In extra mode, they throw Gordos in the damn room. And that's really nice. Again, 2 hits, you're dead. Anyway, so now we got the boss of Bubbly Clouds. This is Kracko Senior. Well, just Kracko in general. Kracko can be about as easy as Kracko Jr. because similar patterns. If you stay to the left, nothing can really touch you except for one attack, which is his dash attack right there. I mistimed the jump there for a second, but, you know, it's 1 unit of damage. You can afford to get hit about 5 times before he kills you. But, again, you stand all the way to the left, the only thing you have to worry about is that dash attack. So a well-timed jump, and you can ignore it completely. Kracko shouldn't touch you if you got decent timing and, yeah, just decent timing. I didn't have decent timing for that one jump, and now I am scarred forever. One thing I really do enjoy about the Kirby series in general, and this pretty much applies to all of them, especially Kirby's Adventure, is that they have a lot of personality considering the limitations of the hardware. You know, Game Boy is not a very powerful system. It never was. I mean, it did its job fine enough for what it needed to do, but, you know, the sprites are well animated. They have decent expressions. It helps that Kirby is so easy to draw and emulate. You know, he's pretty much, you start with a circle, and you draw these big little eyes, these feet, these little U's for hands. Yeah, he's pretty easy to draw. I drew Kirby like millions of times when I was in school. You know, these little doodles that you have on your notepad that you draw all over the place, and yeah, that's nice. But that was intentional, you know. Sakurai made the Kirby series for people to get into video games, you know. But he also throws in a lot of extra challenges, though, for those that are looking to get the most out of their product, and I'm always down for that. That's fine. But yeah, if you're ever looking in for a video game series, you're not sure exactly where to start with 2D platformers, that has a bit of a unique twist in itself, well, not so much with Dreamland, but every other game after this, you really can't go wrong with Kirby. You know, it's not Mario, he's not Sonic, he's his own thing. He can fly, he can suck, he can toss, he can he can copy abilities. I gotta say, the Kirby series really does hit its stride once you start bringing in the copy ability into it, because without it, you know, it's a pretty standard game. I never understood why the screen nukes in this were represented by Kirby. That kind of confused me, like, yesterday when I was playing this game, because I forgot that in order to wipe out the Gordos that are blocking the doors in extra mode for this game, you have to touch these Kirby icons, which is, I thought it was an enemy for a second. Like, I completely had an amnesiac moment, thinking that, okay, there's a clone of Kirby here, and I think I gotta kill it, but nothing's happening. And then I forgot that, oh no, it's a screen nuke, you idiot. It's like, you just gotta touch it, and everything explodes on screen. Fine and dandy, like cotton candy. Crackle looks like cotton candy with spikes. Yeah, it must be a... I don't know, I don't want to think about that. It's a pretty dangerous fucking cloud. I mean, I don't know what Krako's supposed to be besides, you know, an eyeball with a cloud. That's about it. Oh man, I gotta say though, like, of all the stages in extra mode specifically, I think the ones that gave me the hardest time was probably Bubbly Cloud, because of, you know, there are a lot of enemies that wander around pretty erratically. No, I mean, they do have patterns, but they're positioned in a way that makes you think they're randomized when it's not entirely the case. I don't think there's many things that are heavily reliant on RNG. You know, it's not random. They're set patterns. You just gotta recognize them and not get overwhelmed by how many enemies are on the screen and how much damage they do. I think, you know, the worst case thing about extra mode is actually just the amount of damage Kirby takes. You know, it won't take long for Kirby to die in this game. And I can throw off your thinking patterns, thinking, oh my god, I gotta be very careful here. But then you're thinking too carefully, and you don't see that damn Waddle Dee that snuck up to you on the left side. Or maybe you're falling down the chasm in flight mode, and you're trying to be careful as hell, but you still hit that Gordo that takes half of your health in extra mode. Good lord. That cupcake enemy that I just suck up there, that's actually an extra mode exclusive enemy too. He's not there in the original. I think those flying chickens are extra mode too. Some enemies, if they're in extra mode or in their regular mode, they look completely different. Like I mentioned the, I really wish I could remember a lot of the enemies' names, but there is actually a lot of enemies in Kirby's Dream Land. Some of them are, again, are extra mode exclusive, but they all have different names. Now, when you beat extra mode, you do get a roll call at the end of the game, similar to like Super Mario World, or I guess Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo. Similar to that, so it gets a little benefit for a little extra for beating extra mode. But the final stage of this, I'm just getting to this now, is Mount Dedede. This is King Dedede's headquarters. It's a boss rush. You have to fight all the bosses again in one health bar, because I think there's no way to generally heal yourself in Mount Dedede. In extra mode anyway, because I don't remember exactly in regular mode. But the good thing about Mount Dedede, or Dedede, well, they pronounce it as Dedede in Japan, and we call it Dedede here. If you should get a game over, you lose all your lives to Dedede, even in extra mode, you continue with the bosses already defeated. So you can still just head straight to Dedede, so that's nice. But in terms of the boss itself, King Dedede is a hell of a lot faster in extra mode. You know, he does a few things. He likes to dash towards you. He'll trip if he gets too close. But sometimes he won't trip at all. He'll go right into his own variation of a sucking attack. It's that right there. If that manages to suck you in, then you lose a unit of health. I would think it would do more, but it actually doesn't. His hammer attack is kind of limited because he'll run left or right for a short distance and then swing the hammer regardless of how close you are, so use that to your advantage. What you're looking for here are the stars that his hammer attack emit, as well as his body slam. You suck up those stars with your, inhale ability, and then you spit it right back at Dedede. I'm going to keep interchanging between Dedede and Dedede. It's just so natural for me to say either one. But yeah, you're just shooting the stars back at him, right back at you. I never really watched that show because I stopped watching. I know 4Kids is something I don't really watch for Sonic X, and even then, that was only for about a month before I got tired of it. Yeah, you suck the stars up. The only thing that trips me up about DDD is that sometimes I swear to God he has a pattern down, and then he just changes it up at the last minute. Because I was rocking that boss fight for a little bit, and then near the tail end, when he's getting close to dying, he starts changing things up. I'm thinking he's gonna do his hammer attack. He ends up body slamming, sometimes up to like 3 times. And I'm thinking he's gonna do his, body slam. He ends up doing his dash attack. He threw me for a loop there at the end, but I still managed to win. And with DDD out of the picture, we've managed to rescue all the food that he kidnapped, along with his... I don't know why we're taking the castle. But, we have saved the Sparkling Star, and we have got all the food back, and returning to Dreamland with their produce, their groceries, all the yum-yums for everyone to eat. Assuming Kirby didn't get to it first, because he is a hungry motherfucker. And Kirby likes to eat a lot. He looks cute in that exterior. But inside those cute eyes beats the heart of a psychopath. No, I'm kidding. He's adorable. He can eat whatever he wants and not suffer any repercussions because of that. It's like a byproduct of Majin Buu that's somehow separated from his right bicep. Got his own video game series. That's really nice, I gotta tell you. But yeah, that was Kirby's Dream Land, folks. Pretty much nothing else I can tell you at this point in time. It's interesting for a first entry. Again, I really think Kirby wouldn't hit a stride until Adventure on the NES, which introduces the copy ability. It's also a much longer game. And, the copy ability is what you identify Kirby with. But Dreamland is an okay entry in the series. It's short, it's harmless. I recommend it for those that want to see how Kirby got his start. And that's about all I can say about that. Bye-bye, Kirby. And because we beat it in extra mode, we get the roll call. Hey, there we go. The brunt Burts are not in extra mode at all. They're replaced by their more aggressive counterparts. Names I forgot already. Even though this roll call gives you the names, you still have a hard time remembering it. The Two Faces get replaced entirely with Mr. P. Umpkins. I remember that name specifically because it's so stupid. There you go, lo and la la la. I think Kaboos are completely replaced too. I think they show off the normal mode enemies first, and then they start going to extra mode enemies. Kabula, oh good lord, boss is a pain in the ass. Yeah, and Sir Kibbles, they're completely replaced in extra mode too by the boomerang looking guys. And Scarfies, I didn't really get into Scarfies because, well, when you play the game, you know what to not do near them. Scarfies is like the only enemies you can't inhale next to Gordos, because if you do that, they actually transform from these cute little things to these mean-looking assholes, and they chase you down for a little bit, and then they self-destruct. And you gotta watch out because the blast radius for their explosion is pretty big, so you want to watch out for that. There we go, Grumples. That's what they replace in extra mode. It was an interesting little playthrough there. I was thinking, I really did forget how short this game was. I was thinking, okay, I need something to fill up Wednesday and Friday because we're getting ready to start 2 new playthroughs for next week, Kingdom Hearts 2 and Mortal Kombat X for Tuesday and Thursday. And, I figured Kirby's Dream Land, I can probably fill that out Wednesday and Friday, and then I edit up the entire thing, and it's like only 24 minutes long. I was like, oh shit, I can't split this up into 2 parts. This just has to be one video. Anyway, you beat the game in extra mode, and you're told another code for configuration mode. While Kirby checks to see if, Kirby is a nice guy. You realize he beats the shit out of DDD, but, DDD is not really an evil guy. He's just more of a dick than anything. He's not inherently evil, but he doesn't take a loss very well. Kind of feel bad for him, but Kirby's there to console him. Anyway, configuration mode is pretty much a sound test, and you can also configure Kirby's health and lives. I think you can set it up to 9, so you want to make the game a little easier for yourself on extra mode. You can go ahead and do that. Or you can make it harder by setting your lives to 1 and your vitality to 1, making you a 1 hit point wonder. Go ahead, challenge yourself. You can do that if you want to. In the meantime, I'm going to think about what I need to do for Friday because Kirby was so goddamn short. But Anyway, thank you guys for watching. That was Kirby's Dream Land for the Game Boy, released in 1992 by Masahiro Sakurai of Smash Bros. Fame. Thank you guys for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic night, or morning, or afternoon, and take care.